What made Melissa McCarthy dress like a goth during her days in Illinois at a Catholic school? Why did the actress beat herself up the whole ride home from her Bridesmaids audition? And who asked Melissa to do fewer stunts than she wanted to in her newest film, Thunder Force? Hi, I'm Janet. Let's get into it. A cheerleader turned local fashion icon. Melissa McCarthy is arguably the most bankable comic star on the planet, averaging $12 million per film. As of the beginning of 2021, her net worth is $90 million, but she hasn't always been so in demand. Incredibly, her talent went largely unnoticed for more than a decade. Melissa grew up on a farm in Illinois. Her parents had had enough of the city life and wanted to raise their two daughters in a more peaceful setting. They weren't rich, but they gave their children something much more valuable: their unconditional love and support. Years later, Melissa recalled how her mother Sandy and her father Mike's way of thinking influenced her. "Why not you?" is an unbelievably great sentiment to give a kid, shared McCarthy. Not entitlement, but instead, work your butt off. You have a decent chance at this. Her parents also introduced young Melissa to comedy movies and shows with Chevy Chase, Gilda Radner, and Carol Burnett. The latter was one of her idols, and the future star couldn't wait for the day when she would finally be able to be like her. She wanted to be wild and fearless, so she started to try on different characters, which were often the opposite of her real self. On one hand, Melissa was on the student council, was on a sports team, and was even a cheerleader one year. On the other hand, she had a goth punk phase in high school when she dyed her hair blue-black, wore black lipstick, and pulled a cape over her shoulders.
I played tennis. I did student council, and then somewhere around junior year, I got really punk rock gothic, and I dropped out of everything. Much to my parents' thrill.
But it wasn't teenage moodiness. McCarthy was just bored. Living in a small town where everyone was wearing the same sweater from the Limited, she tried to stand out by going to thrift stores and buying crazy clothes. Melissa's wardrobe mystified her neighbors and rattled the nuns at her Catholic high school. Fortunately, her parents took the high road. They thought it was hilarious, especially her mom.
She would always just come in and take pictures of me up close going, in 20 years, you're going to think this is hilarious.
Yeah, well, she sent us your yearbook photo, by the way.
Did she?
Yeah.
Oh, no!
Yeah.
Moreover, Mike and Sandy supported her decision to pursue a career in the fashion industry, dropping fashion for stand-up. Although Melissa wanted to study at the Fashion Institute of Technology, her parents deemed her too wild for New York.
I wanted to go to New York to go to FIT, and my parents were like, "You can't go to New York, you're insane," which they were probably right.
So, in protest, she enrolled in Southern Illinois University in Carbondale. However, within 2 years, she was visited by a childhood friend, Brian Atwood, who, by the way, later became a well-known shoe designer. He said, "What are you doing here? Why aren't you in New York?" recalled McCarthy. "I said, I don't know. And 3 days later, I moved." Life in the Big Apple has never been cheap, but Melissa also wasn't very smart with her money. The 20-year-old discovered credit cards that allowed her to buy nice clothes, shoes, and other wonderful things. McCarthy tried to justify pulling out plastic for pricey purchases, telling herself that she would work hard and soon pay it all off. But in reality, she was flat broke. "I would never quite have the money for rent," Melissa revealed, "so I would call my mom and dad or my sister and say, 'This is how much I'm short.'" But despite her support system, McCarthy wanted to be financially independent. It was about this time that she quit fashion school to pursue a career in stand-up comedy. She performed in famous clubs like Stand Up New York and the Improv, and also worked on her acting skills and appeared in many stage productions. However, McCarthy wanted to diversify her career. So in the mid-90s, Melissa packed her bags again and moved to Los Angeles to pursue acting. At first, it wasn't much easier than in New York. She didn't have a car, so she had to get jobs she could walk to, at the YMCA and Starbucks. But this time, McCarthy didn't want to repeat the same pattern and keep calling her parents asking for money. So she got a job as a production coordinator and got an actual check, which was an amazing feeling. Then, in 2001, Melissa became a member of the iconic comedy group, The Groundlings, which not only helped her refine her talent, but also became the place where she met the love of her life. True love goes hand in hand with laughter. Known as one of the industry's most solid couples, McCarthy and Ben Falcone met in 1998 during an improv class at the Groundlings. The two teamed up to write a sketch, and they've been making each other laugh ever since. But amazingly, Ben and Melissa actually once crossed paths before, as Falcone is actually from the city where Melissa studied, Carbondale.
Took a couple months, and then he said, "Oh my God, I know who you are." we were at the same parties. And I said, you never recognized me, that's not, he goes, I knew who you were. I'm like, you would not recognize me. He goes, I was afraid of you.
That was when Melissa was going through her menacing Gothic look with black hair and clown-like makeup. After dating for about 7 years, they started thinking about getting married, which they did in 2005. By the time McCarthy and Falcone walked down the aisle, Melissa had already gotten her breakthrough role on TV in the beloved show Gilmore Girls. By the way, Ben often has small roles alongside his wife. You can spot him in Gilmore Girls as Fran's lawyer in Season 3. And of course, he's unforgettable as an air marshal in Bridesmaids. Melissa's Gilmore Girls character, Suki St. James, eventually led to other gigs. She got a role in the sitcom Samantha Who, and in the mystery film The Nines, where she starred opposite Ryan Reynolds. Her and Ben's first daughter, Vivian, was born in 2007. So McCarthy's pregnancy was written into the last season of Gilmore Girls. Their younger daughter, Georgette, was welcomed in 2010. The same year, Melissa went on to star in the series Mike and Molly. But her true success was still ahead of her. Success is sweeter after a long struggle. After the box office hit film Bridesmaids premiered, the media called McCarthy an overnight success, even though she was already in her 40s and had been working in the industry half her life. The movie did turn out to be like a genie in a bottle for Melissa, even though in the beginning she didn't expect much from it. I remember thinking, I don't know if this will work at all, she shared in an interview, but it seems like the funniest thing I've ever been a part of. Plus, she doubted she would get the role of Megan. McCarthy even admitted that she beat herself up the whole ride home from her Bridesmaids audition. Little did she know, recalled director Paul Feig about it, that when she walked out, we were all high-fiving. The hugely successful hit was followed by other high-grossing movies, This Is 40 and Identity Thief. But getting the most money isn't the only thing Melissa looks for in deals. Having a say in something means as much for me as getting a fair price, states McCarthy. I never want to lose my voice. Probably that was the reason why Melissa and her husband founded their own production company, On the Day Productions, in 2013. It definitely allowed them to make movies on their terms, according to their own comic tastes. So far, the husband and wife have made 4 movies together: Tammy, The Boss, Life of the Party, and Superintelligence. Their latest project, a superhero comedy, Thunder Force, will soon be released on Netflix. These movies have made Melissa one of the world's highest-paid actresses. Even though her movies are not always critical darlings, they are often commercial hits at the box office. And what does the actress and producer think about the critics' opinions of her movies? It turns out, she believes that her mission is just to make people laugh and offer them a 90-minute refuge. After all, we're in a lot of trouble if it all becomes cops and capes and horror and grim, she says. Critically acclaimed or not, her roles in movies like Spy and the 2016 remake of Ghostbusters brought McCarthy millions. And along with popularity comes close and often unwanted and not very pleasant attention on actors' personal lives and their appearance. So how sensitive is Melissa to negative reviews? Why she's never worried about her body image. In her 2019 interview with InStyle magazine, Melissa revealed that there were times when criticism could break her heart, but she developed a backbone that allows her to stand up for herself no matter what. She also made it clear she couldn't care less about what people think of her weight, and that issue pops up still from time to time. For example, during a press conference for Bridesmaids, one journalist kept asking, "Are you shocked that you actually work in this business at your tremendous size?" By the way, that journalist later lost his job. Melissa had nothing to do with that, but doesn't it feel like karma? The actress also had trouble finding a dress for an Oscar ceremony in 2012. While couture designers usually scramble to dress celebrities for this glamorous red carpet event, McCarthy was rejected by many designers she approached.
Really great people that said yes, and a lot of no's.
And we'll definitely tell you how she responded to this challenge a little bit later. Melissa doesn't dwell on the numbers on the scale. She says that throughout her life, she has been all sizes, from 6 to 22. And quite naturally, some additional weight came along with having 2 babies in 3 years and working almost non-stop at the time. There was even a moment when she thought she had to have back surgery. But fortunately, she started doing Pilates and changed her diet and regimen, which helped her rebuild her body and shred those extra pounds. The 50-year-old star is down around 75 pounds from beginning her weight loss journey and is thought to be a size 14. However, she might soon become even thinner, although it is not something she is aiming for intentionally. "It's something I'm always working on," she says with a shrug. "I don't really drink soda, I don't have a sweet tooth, and we eat healthfully at home." What is important is that she is able to perform really cool stunts, and we'll see some of them in the new film, Thunder Force.
Melissa wants to do too many stunts, and I always have to tell her, you're not doing that one.
We'll tell you more about it in a minute. But now, let's get to one important question. Now, years after Melissa went from literally having a single-digit bank account, how important is the money? The actress revealed that she loves not having to worry about being able to pay a telephone bill or insurance anymore. After years of having multiple jobs and not making a living wage, it feels great to make a steady living. However, Melissa says she wouldn't change the years of hustling because when you spend 20 years working your butt off, you know yourself better. By the way, her big earnings also gave Melissa the opportunity to realize a childhood dream. That is, launch her own clothing line. Surprisingly, her obsession with fashion never went away, and appearing on numerous red carpet events only solidified McCarthy's desire to create outfits that would both look good and allow her to feel confident and comfortable at any size. Melissa released her first clothing collection in 2015, and although it's no longer in production, during a 2019 interview, she revealed that she has been working on a comeback. Also, McCarthy and Falcone support charity projects. Last year, they helped raise $1.5 million as part of the 20 Days of Kindness campaign. But of course, Melissa's biggest passion remains making people laugh. This April, she steps back on our screens together with Octavia Spencer in the superhero action film Thunder Force. The two actresses portray superheroes who save Chicago from the clutches of evil, led by a villain known as the King. The film is written and directed by Ben Falcone, who is a long-term fan of comic books and their blockbuster adaptations. However, Thunder Force will present a slightly different take on the classic tales about people with superpowers. There are so many things to start to think about with superhero movies, shares Falcone. He's got this nanotechnology, but how does Iron Man wash his suit? And there's one more fact about the film. There will be much more special effects and stunts than in any other film Melissa's done.
I love wire stuff. Oh my God. Anytime I can be in a harness and like flipping around, it's like you truly can defy. Like I can't do any of that, but I'm like, yeah, put me on a wire and, have me flip around.
We at OSSA can't wait to watch it. So, let us know in the comments if you want to learn about Thunder Force's behind-the-scenes details. And thanks for staying super awesome.